What's up, guys? Welcome back to Back Road Driver.
We're the Mazda brothers.
So you guys have been asking when we're gonna do something with an EcoBoost. Well, today's that day. We're gonna do our first performance upgrade. We're installing an upgraded intercooler on my Lincoln Navigator that we call Travel Ball on the channel. This is the vehicle I drive on the weekends with the family. So we're gonna turn it up just a little bit. You never know when we'll go crazy with this thing and throw a tune on it. Maybe some bigger turbos. I don't know if we'll have time.
So what we got, guys, is a CV fabrication intercooler. And these are gonna fit a 15 through 20. I think they also fit 21s. It doesn't say that on their website, but I don't think they changed much for 21. What you get is a much bigger intercooler than the factory one. We'll compare the two here in a minute when we get the other one out. But this is way thicker, high quality unit, better flow, and it's just gonna keep your engine running cooler when you're towing, or for performance wise, it's gonna keep those intake air temperatures down. This is one of the first mods you should do if you're gonna throw a tune on an EcoBoost and everything. It's really gonna give you a lot better performance when you get a tune.
So we're out doing a little baseline test. We've got the vehicle up to temperature. We've plugged in an N-gauge device that we had for another tuned vehicle. And this is where we can pull different PIDs or PIDs, I guess is what a lot of people call them. And we can actually check what sensors are reading out while we drive down the road. So we're gonna get our baseline.
So the ambient temperature outside is 66 degrees. That's great weather for these EcoBoosts. And so the air coming out of the charge air cooler, which is the intercooler, is about 95 degrees, somewhere in that range. So you're looking at 30-degree temperature difference on a very cool day. I'm sure on a 90-degree day, that's gonna be a whole lot higher of a delta in change and everything.
That's a $10 word, man.
Yeah, delta's a good word.
All right, what else are we looking at?
So the air actually coming into the engine is about 75 degrees right now. So we'll see if this upgraded intercooler lowers those temperatures, or how that affects the performance of the vehicle.
Another thing we're gonna find out is the size of this intercooler, because it's on a high output 3.5 EcoBoost, larger than a regular 3.5 EcoBoost that's in most F-150 trucks outside of the Raptor. Is it different than the 2.7, the size of the 2.7 intercooler? We don't know. The 2.7 may have a larger intercooler. It may be running more boost. We don't know. We're gonna be able to put them side by side here in just a second when we get this one taken off of the high output Navigator motor.
As I said before, this intercooler was on my 2015 F-150, and so I know how big the original intercooler was. So I'll be able to check and see if this high output motor actually comes with a bigger intercooler to begin with or not.
It is a cool day, and with these EcoBoosts, the hotter it gets, the more this mod is actually going to help.
For sure.
They love cold air. So, not the best conditions to test in, but that's where we're at right now, and we got time to put it on today.
So this is the intercooler on an EcoBoost engine. And first thing I noticed when I crawl under here, this is the exact same intercooler that came off of my 2015 F-150. It's gonna be on your 2.7. This is the high output 3.5. It's the same exact intercooler. Same plumbing, all that kind of stuff. Now this plumbing up in here did change in 17, 18 area. As far as changing this out, it's all the same stuff for all those model years. Some of you guys that aren't familiar with cooling of turbocharged engines, this is an air-to-air system. So this is all air flowing through here. You're cooling down the boosted air coming off the turbos right here with air running through it. Some turbo setups use a water-to-air system where the air is forced through a cooler that has liquid running through it as well to help cool down the boost. But this system is just air-to-air.
So to get this off, we're gonna have to remove the clamps on this charge pipe over here, and then this piece right here, that's a blow-off valve that recirculates. So we'll have to undo that. And then there's two bolts, one here and one here. Then we'll be able to take this thing out.
These are 13 millimeter. These are 7 millimeter. And what I'll show you guys here, they assembled this on a bench and then brought it over here and put it in on the vehicle. So all of these
turn the wrong way to be able to take them off.
From these two I can get to. This one I can get to, but this one is all the way around here. It's impossible.
Yep,
so
frame's in the way right here.
I'll have to take this off on the bench and install it on the new intercooler. So we're gonna drop this out and we'll move over to the bench and switch out all the parts that go on the new intercooler.
But Sam, what happens if you, like when you put this back together and you don't bleed? Like, will it not burp? You have to burp the system?
No, this is air, man. It's already burnt.
We're not gonna bore you in this video with every single nut and bolt, but you got your 7mm here to undo these clamps, and then your 13 right here to drop these. Go ahead and undo all this first, and then take these bolts out, and then lower the whole assembly down.
Okay, so everything's loose to where we could drop this out. We still got to do the blow-off valve. You're gonna wanna pull forward and twist counterclockwise, and this will pop down, and the pipe will come loose. Don't forget the electrical connection. This is an electrically controlled blow-off valve. Don't forget this little deal here. If you don't, you could pull the wires out. Then you're doing some wiring today. So now that we've got all this disconnected, let's take out the two big bolts and drop this thing out. Trick to this, go ahead and loosen it, tighten it back in just a fuzz. That way it doesn't fall down on you all at once and you're ready for it.
I'd give you a hand, but I'm filming.
Set this out of the way. Now this is free. Make sure you keep up with these washers. You're gonna have them on the top as well. You're gonna reuse those on the new intercooler. So if you go ahead and do this side, you can get leverage. So you can work with these. These are a little bit, have more of a grip, I would say, than the other side.
See, he's got it dropped down a good 3 inches now, so he's able to get this thing a little bit further away.
So we did have one that we couldn't get to. I was trying to pull this one and this one loose. It makes it really hard, guys, because you're trying to pull this way to get this one loose, and it's just a pain in the butt. So I went ahead and loosened this one too. So this is gonna make it a whole lot easier.
You're gonna get air on you.
This is where you do have a little bit of oil residue. Gotta watch out for that.
It's about to drip. Black gold, baby. Boom.
That is it.
He's out.
Now, you have another place that you can snag right here, but this is where that cable is hooked on here. So once you get this dropped down, not only did you need to unclip this, but the wiring itself has clips.
It's like a hold it in place type of deal. So he's having to
pop those out. There's one there.
We'll give him a little assist. Grab that, pull it out. Now it's loose.
It's always harder to do stuff on camera, guys. Remember that.
And every vehicle might be just a little bit different. So you may see something. There's really nothing intimidating so far. But you're going to see stuff just a little bit different. So this is where the intercooler was. And you can tell where those rubber mounts go up into this top metal piece up here. But these are the louvers that you see from the front grille down low. They open and close, and I can't open and close them by hand because they're actually on a motor, and they open and close based off what the temperature is outside, whether or not it needs more cooling or doesn't. When you tune your vehicle, they will tune these open so that you're always getting the cold air, because even when it's cold, you want it to be even colder. Sam removed these on his 2015. I hate to say it, but they may be gone here in just a minute. I'm kind of thinking this whole little box right here may need to go. So travel ball is no longer stock.
All right, now that we got them on the bench, we can compare the two. You can see that this intercooler is much thicker.
So they're on the same size piece of foam, but this one is like quite a bit taller. And then something I noticed is the actual fins themselves. This is the stock, This is the aftermarket, and these are tighter.
A lot more dense.
So there's gonna be, I mean, with the thickness as well as the density, there's a whole lot more cooling going on aftermarket.
I feel like this high output intercooler that come on the Navigator could be a little bit thicker than the one that was on my 15 F-150. Some of you guys out there will know, is this the exact same size or not? I just remember it being thinner than this. Now that we got this on the bench, we're going to have to get everything moved over to the new intercooler.
When we move this stuff over to the new intercooler, one thing you're going to see is that plastic stuff would not bolt onto the side of this. This actually replaces this, and you can see how much better this flows, being all aluminum and being open, than this. I mean, it bottlenecks down really, really tight. So you're going to get more flow on the in and out pipes, as well as more condensed and more space on the actual intercooler. So we're going to flip this stuff over. You can follow the directions that come with the new intercooler on how to do that, but we're not going to bore you to death. Pop a few clips, move over what's got to be moved over, and we're going to get it back on the vehicle. So what we have to reuse is this pipe, and then your blow off, and then these two blue pieces. But like all this is going to be, it's going to stay with this piece in case it ever goes back factory, and then everything down here is also going to stay. We are going to rob those rubbers, but this bottom mechanism is going to stay. Now Sam just pointed something out. We have a blow off valve over here because that's something he had done to his 2015. It makes a big, you know, pop off, and I'm not sure my wife would go for that.
Right now is the time to change your blow off valve, because if you don't, you're going to be doubling up on your labor. You're going to be doing everything twice.
Okay, so we're calling an audible. I didn't know that if I wanted to put that blow off valve on there to do a tune, that we were going to have to take all this back off. I didn't want the whoosh if my wife drives this, but just not tell her about it. Let's go ahead and put that bad boy on. So we're going to put the aftermarket blow off valve on now while we've got all this pulled off, and we'll be ready, I guess, one step closer to being able to tune it.
And to be clear, you don't have to have a blow off valve to have a tune. You can leave that factory blow off valve on there, but they fail.
Yep.
The plastic ones tend to fail, especially on a hotter tune.
Which is if we tune it,
I mean, why? I mean,
probably
you're not
gonna
going to put a
hot.
mild one on.
No.
So
let's go ahead and change that part out. Your Turbo Smart blow off valve, which he's installing right now, will set you back about $322, and the intercooler is quite a bit more. It's $575.
that is a deal.
Yeah.
By the way, because this is going to be the cheapest option that I have found that works really well. Most of these are going to cost $800, $900, $1,200. You can pay $1,500 for one of these. Unless you're running a race car, just get this one. It's $575, and that ain't cheap.
That's got to be my wife. What are you doing?
I'm bringing your car back to you.
Now tell them what you texted me just a second ago.
I said this whole back end of this car is taped up with tape, and it still gets gawked over. People are pointing and clapping and thumbs upping, and
I think it's just because you're driving it.
no, this guy about broke his neck turning to look at the car. When are you gonna make mine fast?
We're working on that right now. We've added some, like we've taken all the exhaust off, so it's going to be really, really loud now.
No, I don't want it loud.
I'm just kidding.
Okay, good.
You're not going to hear anything any different.
All right, I'm going to have to pull out the directions. I can't do everything from memory
Wait a
from
minute.
2 or 3 years ago.
Are you sure you want to do that? That goes against our code.
Yeah, no. Sometimes you actually do have to look at the directions, or you'll be up under there and you have to pull it back out and start over. So I know.
Spoken by a man that sounds like he's done it before.
That's right.
In this video, we're not showing you how to put the blow-off valve on, but it does require a little bit more work. What are you doing?
You've got to tap into your manifold pressure sensor. So the blow-off valve actuates. That's how it knows when to let off boost. And it's all the way back here in the back. And when you're on ramps, then you're trying to put this on.
I hear you. No, you're making it look good, man. You're doing good.
So we're all moved over. Everything's in place. Some people will tell you to put the intercooler in and put these pit plumbing pieces in underneath the truck. I'm not a fan of that. I like to go ahead and get this stuff in place, fit it up in there, and get everything hooked up. I think we got one more thing we need to remove underneath. It's going to be a shroud for the louvers, and what that is this extra thickness on this intercooler. You have to remove the shroud that made up the difference on the factory one. So we'll go pull that out and slide this bad boy in. So we ran into a problem on everything but a Navigator, evidently. This lip right here pops off. And on a Navigator, it's plastic welded. This is kind of a rubbery material, and then this is more plastic. They've rubber welded it around. This doesn't pop off on a Navigator like it does on F-150s. So
we're gonna unpop it off.
We're gonna have to cut it off. Luckily, cousin left his glasses here because we don't have any safety glasses yet for our shop.
Oh man, Spencer left his glasses here.
Here we go.
Nothing to see here, just hacking on a Navigator. Brand new, 2021.
Hey, that's a nice clean cut there, babe.
No burrs on it.
Shove this bad boy in here.
Up she goes. See how we had that shroud clearance right there to be able to fit in there. Everything seems to fit right, and then you cap something off up here. You cap the old.
Got to cap off where the old blow-off valve was going on if you're using a blow-off valve. Of course, if not, you're hooking it back in. This is a little metal piece that goes in and caps that off if you are using a blow-off valve.
So all we've got to do is hook up a couple plugs, hook up couple little vent hoses, cook up these pipes right here. We're ready to go. Back out for a post-install test drive. We're going to show you the blow-off valve here in just a second. It sounds pretty freaking wicked. First of all, Sam, talk us through the numbers here. What are we seeing different?
The ambient air temperature is almost identical right now. As a matter of fact, it's 64 degrees ambient air temperature. Our intercooler temperatures are a little bit lower, of course, but our intake air temperature is 7 degrees cooler than where we were. These results would be magnified a lot if we were out on a 90-degree day. You would see a huge difference in these temperatures. The factory intercooler wasn't having to work that hard on a 60-something degree day. I really wish we had a hot day to show you the difference, but as you can see, even though the cold air charger temperatures off this gauge are similar, our intake air temperature is quite a bit cooler now.
It's 10 degrees different. This is a photo from before. It's a good 10 degrees different on same
right,
on cool
the
days.
same. So, and that's in a 60-something degree weather. If you're in a 90-degree weather, you're going to see like a 30-degree difference, sometimes 40 degrees difference in what the ambient air temperature is and the air coming out of your intercooler. So this is going to help tremendously on big long road trips, when you're towing, that sort of thing. Performance wise, it is a game changer. But for you know, driving around, you're not going to really tell a big difference just by changing your intercooler. It's not like a run out and you can tell that it's way faster or anything like that. But if you tune the vehicle, the tune can be a lot stronger, your cooling's gonna be better. Your vehicle is gonna be able to go fast or tow hard longer and at a cooler temperature with the intercooler upgrade. Not a lot of people put an upgraded intercooler and a blow-off valve on a Navigator, but we're not normal people. Let's see if we can show them what that thing sounds like. I don't know if my wife's gonna like that or not. I'm not gonna tell her. Let's let them hear it from outside.
Is that not the meanest, most menacing travel ball family hauler you've ever heard?
It might need some exhaust, but it's an EcoBoost. I don't think we need to do that.
That's a rough road to travel down. But guys, you asked for some EcoBoost content. We've got more coming with this thing.
I'm gonna try to talk him into putting a hot tune on this thing. Never really seen one on a Navigator.
No,
So
there's not a whole lot of that running around. The Hennessy has a 600 horsepower Navigator that they do a few more things to than this, but we're not going to that level. But I guarantee we're not going to spend Hennessy money. Guys, we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
Peace.